So a few weeks ago, we did what we always do around here and we celebrated the greats. I took a moment to look back at 25 of the greatest hip hop groups of all time, and we did it tier list style. But you know me, I heard the comments, I feel y'all, we gotta run it back for part 2 because 25 groups was just not enough. I left off too much heat. What can I say? I got to get the people what they want. So today, that's what we're going to do. So pull up a chair, join old Uncle Ed as we take another stroll down hip hop memory lane and look at the greatest groups, another 25 of the greatest groups of all time. Back when groups ran the game and they ran the whack MCs out of the game. Man, can I mention how much I miss rap groups? Bring them back, please. But we're going to look at some of the best. Let's get it. What up, players? Thank you for joining me for yet again another edition of the Soul and Stereo Sessions. And you heard what we're gonna do today. We're gonna talk about the best rap groups of all time. We're gonna break out the tier list and put them up there and see how they rank. So, producer D Roth, show the good folks the tier list part 2. Show them what we're working with. So yeah, there you go. There's our list. We've got 25 great groups down at the bottom, and you know how it is. So S tier is going to be the top, the elite, the best of the best. A are great groups. B, good groups. C, here's what it is. Don't end up in player please land. So you know how it is. Don't get there. All bad. But before we get started, because I don't want to delay this too much, we got a lot of fun for today. Take a moment, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit a like on this video. Give your boy a like, because you're going to like this. I promise you will. Some of y'all might not when you see where I rank some of these groups, but I promise you'll like the commentary that we'll have. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's one click for you, but it means a lot to me and your boy D Roth. It helps us keep us motivated, gets the channel out in front of new eyeballs, and we appreciate it. And when you're done, be sure to share this with a hip hop fan in your life. We got a lot of good stuff coming, including this. So without any further ado, let's get to part 2 of the best hip hop groups of all time. Tier list style. Up first is Run DMC, and we are starting out hot. I mean, y'all already know where this is going, but before I get there, let me tell you my personal story, because when I think about my hip hop memories, they start with Run DMC. The first hip hop memory I ever have is seeing a poster of these two dudes on my cousin's wall in her room. I was just like, these the two coolest looking dudes I've ever seen. This is before I was ever even knew what hip hop was. That was my introduction. That poster has been burned into my mind for the past 40 some years, because yes, I'm an old head, and I have been in love with hip hop ever since. Run DMC, the foundation of the game. We're not even gonna waste any time. S tier group for one of the best to ever do it. Easy, easy, easy pick. Next up is 8Ball and MJG. Now, I'm from the South. I'm from Virginia. I know y'all are like, that ain't the South. It's the South. Trust me. Southern Virginia is absolutely the South. However, 8Ball and G weren't really played a lot when I was growing up. Virginia is interesting because it's Southern, but also has some Northern influences. So we got a good mix of Southern hip hop and the East Coast hip hop at the time, New York stuff. And I didn't really hear a lot of 8Ball and G growing up. I definitely heard it later on once I became a student of the game, but I didn't really hear a lot at the moment. So I have since, of course, absorbed. I love them. They're some great dudes, great duos. Ball and G, great at what they do. However, I have to put them a tier below some of the greats like Outkast and UGK, just because even though they're influential and had the great songs, and it's, you can add 3 6 to that group too, I don't know, they just never hit that next level for me of greatness. So they are a very good group. Can't really put them in great group. I know y'all are gonna be like, oh, because you lived in Virginia and didn't hear the good stuff. I've kind of heard everything. No shots to them. I love Ball. I love G, but I'm going to go B tier for them. Oh my gosh. Next up is Smilez Southstar. Who put them up here? D Roth, did you put these dudes up here? I'll tell you this. Me, tell me what you think is going on. That was quite the bop before we knew what that word was back in 2002. That song was quite catchy. Today, if it came on my playlist, I would not turn away from it. It's a pretty fun song. But if you want to talk about the definition of a one-hit wonder, it's them two dudes. Fun song, but as much as I love y'all, gonna have to play a please, Smilez Southstar. No smiles over here. That song is fun though. You got a fun song. You got a hit on your resume, brothers. We just didn't hear anything else because that album was not it. And I didn't like the other single they put out. Sorry, that's how it goes. Next up is Slum Village. And I think these guys are so underrated because when you look at their contributions, it always seems to be boiled down to that one Kanye song, Selfish, which I love, by the way. I love that song. But they are so much more than that. Especially in the mid 2000s and in the 2010s, they to me were that era of Tribe. Like they were just so experimental and fun, but pure MCs. Elzhi, I've talked about Elzhi before on this channel. Elzhi he should be top 5 of all time. That dude is an incredible lyricist, and I really became a fan of him as part of Slum Village. SV is a great group. They have some great albums, but as great as they were never able to break out of that pack to hit top tier level for me. I'm going to put them in A tier. Some might disagree. Some may say it's S. Some may say it's B. I think they're A. I think they deserve A. Go back and check out their catalog. They're very, very good. Next up is Group Home. And I think Group Home gets a very bad rap. And here's why. Group Home dropped in the 90s and their album was produced by DJ Premier. So of course, this is at peak Premier, by the way. So they had some of the greatest beats you could imagine. And people at the time were like, oh, Primo wasted his best beats on these Group Home dudes. Oh, they're so whack. Group Home is not whack. Just put that out there. They're not whack. And if you had the opportunity to have your album produced by one of the greatest of all time, you gonna turn that down because you want them to give it to Nas? No, give me them beats, homie. Give me those beats. I think their debut was good. A lot of stuff after that, it didn't work. These guys are no Gang Starr. We'll put it there. However, I think they are a solid group overall, so I'm going to say they're worthy of B tier. Next up is Helter Skelter. Rock and Ruck. Oh my gosh. Every day that I wake up, I miss Sean Price. One of my favorite MCs of all time. I cannot believe this dude is gone. If he was around, I just know that he would find new life because he was so talented and so freaking funny. Oh, it makes me so sad that he's not here. However, we're talking about Helter Skelter, the group, and they were an incredible group. If you know their debut, Nocturnal, one of the most celebrated underground albums of the 90s. Really, it's up there with some of the best ever because when you look at how great the 90s were and how stacked that decade was, I still put them in the mix. That's how great they were. They had some great albums after that, none as good as the debut. They had some Magnum Force, it didn't quite work. But I always loved that even though they were super duper focused, hardcore MCs, they had no problem poking fun at themselves or being goofy. I just love them. There's just something so likable and redeemable about these dudes. I'm going to go, might be controversial, I'm going to go A tier. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Sean Price stan. I think that when they were at their best, they were at their best. They are an excellent group. Next up is Camp Lo. And I know everybody knows Camp Lo for that one song. And that one song, quite frankly, is one of the best hip hop songs ever. One of the most recognizable beats of all time. And I know it's easy to throw them in one hit wonder category, but these are no Smilez Southstar. Get it right. They are not them, but they are great. Their debut, Uptown Saturday Night, was so good. I love the 70s aesthetic. They were so wild. I think they were ahead of their time. They're a group that if they came out today, I think people would appreciate them even more. They were just so great. Real quick story I want to share with y'all to show you where we've evolved since the internet. So in the early 2000s, I was home in Virginia. I was visiting and I heard this song from them and I knew it was them because you cannot deny Camp Lo. Like their style is so It's so distinct. You knew it was them. I heard this song on the radio I had never heard before. It was called Gotcha. If you are familiar with MF Doom's Red and Gold, same sample there. And I heard this song and I'm like, this song is crazy. Where is this song? And I heard it one time and never, ever again. Never again. The only way I found it is because thanks to the magic of YouTube, where you can find pretty much everything now, I did find that song years later. It's called Gotcha. Love the song. Go check it out. One of my favorite songs. But anyway, it proves that they had way, way more than just Lucchini and way, way more than even their debut album. They had a lot going on. That said, as great as lyricists as they were, they weren't really just able to just stay visible in the time where hip hop was changing. They kind of had that one big hit with Lucchini and then kind of just faded into the background. It's not fair because they're so talented. I'm going to go B tier. I think they deserve B tier. Plus, they have one of the most recognizable songs of all time, so you can't hate on that. Next up is Sporty Thievz, and y'all want to talk about a group that had one song? No Pigeons was such a great response to No Scrubs. It was so hilarious. But it's a song there is no way you could drop that song today because y'all would drag them up and down social media. You'd be doing your little relationship podcast talking about how they're destroying the relationship structures or blah, 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 whatever big meaningless empty words that y'all like throwing out there. It was just a fun response song. That's all it was. It was fun. It was funny. I like No Pigeons. I play No Pigeons more than I play No Scrubs. I'm sorry, I do. It's a hilarious song. And Sporty Thievz, they're great. I think they're great. They have a lot of personality, as you can tell from that song. But that's really the only thing they did mainstream. Sporty Thievz actually has a lot of albums if you go back and check. They've been putting out stuff, but they just have not really followed up. So, gotta go C tier for my boys. Sorry, y'all. Just C tier. Next up is the Geto Boys, one of the most foundational, when you want to think about it, artists of Southern rap. These dudes are great. And while they were controversial in a way that pushed the genre forward. Like they were those, back in the 90s, there were groups and artists that you would hear about that people would be like, oh, don't listen to them, they're of the devil, or don't listen to them or you're going to get suspended from school. There were these, between NWA and Bone and Geto Boys, there were a group of artists that were just vilified by mainstream, and of course that made them even cooler. Of course, Geto Boys gave us Scarface, one of the greatest to ever do it, but that's not just defining them. Willie D, Bushwick, there's so much greatness that came out of that group. I will be fair though, I don't think that a lot of their albums hold up besides the couple of first ones. But that said, they're just so influential to Southern rap and to hip hop in total. We gonna go S tier. I'm gonna go S tier with Geto Boys. It might be some of y'all might push back, and even me, I'm kind of going back and forth with A and S, but I think S tier is deserving for their contributions. Okay, next we got Arrested Development, and they are the first rap group to win a Grammy for Best New Artist. Bet you didn't know that, but yes, there was a time where Arrested Development was going to be, we thought they were going to be like the next big thing. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because they had some issues in the group and blah, blah, blah. And then hip hop started to change drastically. So they quickly lost their way. Before a time, they were very, very good. And they just had an album last year that was pretty good too. So they had still been consistent on their craft. They just haven't been high in the mainstream. They had that big, big peak. And after that, they kind of faded kind of quickly. We remember the hits, but we don't really think about them when we think about modern hip hop, which is a shame. I'm going to give them B tier though, because I can't discredit what they brought to the game initially, and they're pretty good, so they deserve that. Next up is Dead Prez, and these dudes are so underrated. To me, they were the evolution of Public Enemy for a new decade, and we really needed them. Unfortunately, they really don't have a lot of albums, and the stuff that they did put out, while incredible, never really got the attention it deserved, because by the late 90s and the 2000s, hip hop won't really trying to hear that type of messaging, which is unfortunate when we look at where we are in 2026. Maybe we listened, we wouldn't be in this place right now. But I love what they were able to bring to the game. They are dope. Please go back and check out their music. It is so good. I'm going to give them A tier because they are an incredible group. They don't get enough love, so I'm going to give them some love right now. Next up is Goodie Mob. So we talk about Outkast. We talk about UGK. We just talked about 8Ball and MJG. We talk about 3 6 Mafia. We talk about the greatest groups of the South, Geto Boys. Goodie Mob has to be in that conversation. I know that the solo career of CeeLo kind of overshadows what they've done, and we all think about like Cell Therapy as far as a great song, and that is a great song, but they have brought so much more. Their debut album is one of the most authentically Southern albums I have ever heard. Like, if you want to really know the depiction of the South, not the stereotypes and the silly stuff, a pure depiction of Southern living, you check out that album. Soul Food is great. They are a great group, and all the members bring a diversity to the sound that's so needed. So to me, they are one of the best that ever did it. So I'm going to go A tier for Goodie Mob. Some who don't know might be like, that's too high, but that just tells me you don't know, because they deserve that A. Eric B and Rakim is up next, and I ain't gonna waste any time because we know where this is going already. Rakim is the architect of lyricism. Modern lyricism, in my opinion, really was defined by Rakim. He and Eric B were like the dynamic duo of their day. Why am I wasting words? Y'all already know. S tier easily for these two. A foundational group. Next up is Public Enemy, and it may be hard for some of y'all to grasp, but there was a time where these dudes were the voice of hip hop and the voice of Black culture. I'm saying that in totality, they were our voice. This was long before y'all were talking about somebody being invited to the cookout. Somebody sing a little song or something. Oh, he invited to the cookout. I don't know him. He's not coming to my cookout. This is long before y'all were letting little white boys use the N-word because haha, it's funny. Oh, he cool. No, there was an era where our voice was defined by what Public Enemy was saying. And it was so necessary in our culture and of hip hop. When it comes to just the movement, the modern day movement of the 80s, this started here. Music that moved you, music that motivates you, music that was about the actual culture, Black culture and hip hop culture, which in my opinion are married together. It was here with Public Enemy and every verse that they spit. Chuck D, I mean, to me, he's like a minister when it comes to this stuff. And it's not just empty words, because their music, I mean, it was the foundation of if there was a movement, these songs would be part of that movement. Black pride, Black power, what was really going on in these communities. Public Enemy, they were the bullhorn, they were the loudspeaker, and they have some of the most classic albums of all time. Of course, we don't mention them much today because they're from an older era, and of course that music is seen as like, oh, that's not music to have fun to. Actually, yes, that music is so good you can bump it out of your speakers and still ride to it and still have meaning to it. That's how great they were. I'm wasting time. Y'all know what it is. S tier for one of the most important groups in American music history. Next up is Redman and Method Man. We had Wu-Tang last time, so I guess this is the next best thing for them. These two MCs, they just fit together like peanut butter and chocolate. Like, they're just so perfect together. Their styles mesh so well. And honestly, the only reason I probably wouldn't rank them any higher on this list is because they always felt like, this isn't a shot at either of them. It never felt like the Red and Meth group was a priority. Now, they had movies, they had a TV show, they had a lot of stuff, but the actual group always seemed like, oh, this fun side project we do when like we're between albums. It never seemed like, okay, we're gonna make this thing happen musically. The albums we got are good, the features we got of course are good. I always loved whenever I look at an album and see featuring Method Man and Redman, you know it's going to be a good song. So that's good. So I'm going to go B tier. I would go higher if there was more of a concerted effort into like making that group. like a great group. I think they could be a great duo if they focus. But it's just kind of a side thing that two friends do whenever they're free. So B tier is what it is. Next up is Kriss Kross. And don't laugh. Kriss Kross was huge. When I was in middle school, these little boys had all of us, not me because I went crazy, had all of us wearing clothes backwards, jumping around talking about, oh, I missed the bus. Oh. They were, it was a time. It was absolutely a time. And while their run seemed short, it's actually a little longer than you think because they came back in 96 with the Young, Rich and Dangerous album. And that album is so good. It's back here somewhere. That album is so slept on. I listened to it a couple years ago and it kind of holds up. They were really good. If they had given more time to just kind of evolve as artists, I think they would have been even bigger, because while a bunch of like child artists really have a hard time transitioning as the genre moves on and they mature, I think they were on track to do that just well. They did other things. Of course, we lost Kriss. That was one of the things that was kind of heartbreaking. But for their time, for the hits they gave us, and for the comeback to show they still had skills, I'm going to go B tier for them because they deserve it. Oh, look. It's Young Money, the guy in the White House's favorite rappers. We're going to go C tier with no other comment. Next up is Black Star, and this is a tough one. So Mos Def and Talib Kweli, their debut is one of the greatest rap albums of all time. To this day, still one of the best. But then we went 24 years without another one, and then we got a second album. And it was nowhere near the greatest rap album of all time. It was, I know some people loved it. I think nostalgia was forcing them to love it. I couldn't with that second album. It was quite a disappointment. To me, they're kind of like the reverse Fugees. How the Fugees started out and then just rocketed up and went incredible and disappeared. That's kind of Black Star. So whereas we have to celebrate them for what they gave us, it's hard to put them higher because they didn't really do much after. So let's go B tier. I think that's generous. Next up is Junior Mafia. And I know y'all are going to be like, oh, it's Junior Mafia. It's Biggie. He's going to go S tier, blah, 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 blah. You think so poorly of me. Actually, okay, and I'm playing. We're not going to go S tier. However, because I am your unbiased music reviewer, I will tell you that Junior Mafia has a lot more than you probably realize. Of course, people think of Junior Mafia as Biggie and them. Yeah, I mean, kind of was Biggie and them. He was the massive star and everybody else was kind of there. But look what else they brought to the game. There was Lil' Kim's coming out party. Of course, we got to give credit to that. I have a soft spot in my heart for Lil C's. I love Lil C's. He's hilarious. I kind of like him. He's never going to be a top tier dude, but it's just a guy who drops a verse and goes away. I kind of like C's. And I think Klepto, who a lot of people don't remember, was very underrated. And I think he could have really been something as a solo star. Of course, that didn't really quite work out, but he was very good. And of course, their album was good. I know, yes, the album was good because of Biggie, but the album's still good. You can't hate on that. So they're a memorable group. They gave us a decent album. I'm going to go B tier. I would not go lower than that. Even though I would want to go higher, I got to be fair. I think B tier is okay. Next up is the Pharcyde, another one of the most underrated groups, extremely underrated groups in hip hop, because we just don't celebrate them a lot today. So people kind of forget about them, but they absolutely are worthy of celebration. Of course, we got Passing Me By, we got Running, we got Drop, we got just so many classic songs and albums from these guys because they were so innovative at their time. That's what set them apart in a time where hip hop was still finding itself and we hadn't got to the point where hip hop is supposed to sound like this. Like we hadn't got to that part yet. So you could still have groups who could still do stuff way out in left field and it just be dope and it be accepted. And I love it so much. Just go look at the video for Drop. Like that was so innovative. To this day, one of the greatest videos of all time that people don't realize because the innovations happened so long ago and because they aren't celebrated a lot today, we kind of forget about it. But these dudes were on another level of creativity. My heart says S tier. Maybe it should be A. You know what? I'm going with my heart on this one. S tier. We're going S tier for Pharcyde. They are such a great group and they deserve the love. All right, next up is Terror Squad, and they're kind of like a little bit like Junior Mafia in a bit, where they had the big main star. Of course, they had Pun, but then later it was Fat Joe, and then Remy and a Lil Kim kind of section, and then other interchangeable MCs that went in and out. I'll give them a little bit of a upgrade over Junior Mafia though, because they had Tony Sunshine who could bring in that R&B element. So that was something that kind of diversified their sound. So I always liked that Terror Squad had just like a lot of elements going on that make them set apart. So that was cool. But even though they had a couple albums, we only remember like 1 or 2 songs from them. Of course, they're more of a clique than a group. That said, I think they're still worthy of celebrating, and they did bring some good stuff. Their second album was the 2004 album. I thought was pretty good too. So let's go B tier. I think Terror Squad deserves that. Up next is the Dogg Pound. Yes, when you talk about West Coast rap in the 90s, you always hear about Snoop, you hear about Dre, you hear about Pop. You don't hear enough about Dogg Pound, and they were right there, and they were putting out stuff as good as those guys, and in some cases better. What a great duo. What a great group. They really had huge contributions to the West, just taking off in the mid-90s. And again, there's another group that I don't think we give enough credit to today. Shout out to Kurupt. I hear that he, at least of the recording of this video, he's undergoing some health challenges, so we're praying for him. Hope he pulls through, because these dudes are a great duo. They had an album a couple years ago that made my best albums of the year list because it was that good. They still have some gas in the tank. We are celebrating Dogg Pound today. They get A tier. They are that good. They're getting A tier. All right, next up is Timbaland and Magoo. And again, some of y'all will probably think I'm going to S tier them like Junior Mafia, because if you know me, if you love me, you know I love some Timbaland and Magoo. Shout out to VA. And I think that unfairly, sort of like Junior Mafia, I think Tim and Magoo get a little bit of a bad rap. You always hear I see these worst MCs of all time lists, and I see Magoo on it. First of all, RIP to my man. I thought Magoo was very fun. And I respected Magoo because he never acted like he was Rakim. He was him, and he was fun. And if you listen to his wordplay, yes, he was hilarious. Yeah, a lot of his stuff was comical, but he wasn't horrible, especially his later stuff. It was actually pretty good. He just was not a top tier lyricist. Now, Timbo, some of the hate y'all have for Magoo, yeah, some of those Timbo bars aren't the best, and they didn't age the best, but they were an entertaining duo. And the boards, you have one of the greatest producers of all time, so the production was crazy, the music was fun. They were just a fun group that understood that they were just here to have fun. They weren't running around here like they were goats, and that's fine. It's okay. Y'all always say you don't ever want to have fun in your music. I want to have fun, I just don't want to be stupid. And even though these dudes were fun, they knew how to also bring some creativity to the game because they understood what hip hop was. So B tier for my guys, B tier for Tim and Magoo. Next up is EarthGang. So one of the few kind of current day groups that's still out here doing their thing. I'm a big fan of EarthGang. I know a lot of people compared them to Outkast when they first came out. I did too. They're kind of like Outkast's little brothers if they were all hopped up on pixie sticks. Do they still make pixie sticks, or did they get rid of those things? You know, it's just straight up table sugar with food color in it, right? I mean, it's good, but that's how they act. Anyway, EarthGang is great, and it's easy to overlook them because they're just like, oh, these crazy dudes being crazy. But there's a lot of lyricism there. There's a lot of thoughtfulness there. So even though it's easy to be like distracted by all of their kind of in-your-face nature, they're really two good MCs in that package that you hear. So, but it's really hard to rank them on this list because they're still, while they're not new, I think their career is still evolving and they're still developing. So there's time for them to definitely go up, probably up. But for now, I think we'll be safe and we'll put them in B tier because they're very solid right now. Who knows? In a few years, they could be A, maybe even S. And finally, let's wrap things up with the Lost Boys. In the mid-90s, the Lost Boys was another group that we thought was going to be big for a very short window of time. They were, I guess it was 96 or so. Man, they were dropping hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. They were everywhere. Mr. Cheeks, we just knew he was going to be a solo star. He tried, didn't quite work. He tried, but the group did run out of steam. They lost some group members, so things didn't quite work out. But for a time, they really seemed like one of the premier groups in the game. And for their big run that they have in the mid-90s, I think we got to celebrate them for that. So let's go B tier, D Roth. Got to put them there. I can't put them higher. I know people love Renee, which is one of the best storytelling romantic tragedies in hip hop that people still celebrate today. Huge song. But when we look at their overall career, it was very good, but a little bit of lost potential there. So let's do B. All right, that's it. So that's it for round 2. D Roth, show the wonderful people what we've got on the tier list. Take a look. A lot of B tiers, but I think that this is a solid list. Shows there's some great groups out there. And there you go. But of course, now it's your turn. I've been talking for like a half hour. So now it's your turn to tell me what you think of these groups. Who do you think should have been a little higher? Who do you think should have been a little bit lower? I know somebody's going to tell me their favorite is an S tier and they want me to die, but calm down. We just here talking music. It ain't that deep. We can talk about that later. And here's the big question. We did round 1. We did round 2. Y'all want to do round 3? Let me know. Still a lot of groups we didn't do. I didn't do X Clan. I didn't do Cypress Hill. I didn't do EPMD. I really wanted to do MPMD, but I ran out of time. Cain and Abel, DJ Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Man, I can't even get that out. There's Kid and Play. There's so many groups that we still have not touched on. Let me know in the comments if you want to do a part 3. And of course, you can check out part 1. I'll link that in the description as well. Probably in the comments too, so you don't miss it. This edition of the Soul and Stereo Sessions is a wrap. I'm going to see if I can ponder doing group 3. Y'all let me know what y'all want to do. I might be down for that. Play on, players.